Being the hardest difficulty in the game, Death Sentence 1 Down is typically reserved for highly skilled players with fully kitted out builds. The key word is typically though, because today we're going to see if it's possible to beat a heist on DSOD at level 0. And depending on who you ask, I'm not even a highly skilled player either, so we really are going to be doing the complete opposite of how you're meant to play DSOD. Before we even see if this completely sadomasochistic challenge is actually possible, let's start with some ground rules for it. Firstly, I will have to play at level 0. This seems obvious, but this means I'll have no skills and also be extremely limited in what equipment I can use. Secondly, I will have to play a heist of my choosing on Death Sentence 1 Down and play it fully loud from start to finish. Strangely enough, I don't really feel like playing every heist in the game for this challenge. As for what heist we'll be playing though, it will be the basic bank heist cash. I know it's a fairly easy heist all things considered, but I feel like any of the tougher heists would be borderline impossible, given the limited survivability and damage potential we can have at level 0. And lastly, I cannot play with others or use team AI. I know the challenge is already pretty tough, but I feel like this to be a real test of if it's possible, I'll have to do it by myself. Now with the rules set, we can now go into the build I'll be using for this. For the perk deck, I went with Anarchist. Anarchist is a really solid perk deck in general, but is great at level 0 purely because it gives us armor gating without using Bullseye. Armor gating will give us a much better chance of surviving against the cops than whatever any of the other perk decks can give us while we don't have any skills to work with. As for the weapons, it was tricky to decide on what I'll be using for it. For our primary though, there is one weapon that sticks out in particular, that being the Predator 12 gauge. It sticks out in its own right purely because it's the only shotgun you can use at level 0, but also because of another reason. Every weapon we have access to is pretty bad for DSOD without any skills, and the Predator is no exception. This is where Dragon's Breath rounds come in handy though, as fire does damage over time that isn't tied to the weapon's damage. The amount of damage that fire does is pretty good too, making it our best choice for killing cops with no skills and unlimited weaponry. Dragon's Breath rounds also synergize well with Anarchist, as the damage over time done by them activates the regen from the Lust for Life card. As for our mods on the Predator, we modded with the Dragon's Breath rounds, extended magazine, shark teeth nozzle, negative accuracy boost, LED combo, Richt puncture magnify gadget, and the speculator sight. While the Predator is good for dealing with most units, we're still pretty vulnerable against dozers. This is where the Spec Ops SMG comes in handy, and this will be the secondary for the build. SMGs are a bit of a no-brainer for this build as they have better DPS than pistols and snipers, making them a better choice for taking down dozers. Then the Spec Ops is just a better pick than the Swedish K, as it has more DPS and higher ammo pickups. As for the mods on the Spec Ops SMG, we go with the Marmon Compensator, Accuracy Boost, Auto Fire, LED Combo, Extended Magazine, Richt puncture magnify gadget, Biometric Analyzer, and the Unfolded Stock. We then go with trip mines as our deployable. Every other deployable isn't really too useful for this challenge, so being able to blow open doors with shaped charges will help us save some time. For our armor, we go with the 2-piece suit because it's the best pick for Anarchist as it maximizes our armor gating potential. For our throwable, we go with the Molotov Cocktail. We use it basically for the same reason that we use Dragon's Breath rounds, as it's got good damage over time and lets us easily regenerate armor with its damage. Then lastly, we go with the Weapon Butt as our melee. We don't have access to any of the high damage or utility melees, so the Weapon Butt is our best pick as it's an instant hit that we can use to get a bit of armor. Now that I've got my build ready, let's just get into it. Okay, so this took me about 3 or so days to do. I wasn't like, waking up, hopping on payday and trying to run this, but it was like I'd hop on for like an hour or two, do some attempts of it, and then just see what happens. Yeah. So one thing that's worth noting is that I did actually use an asset, that being the silent alarm delay, whatever it is actually called. Obviously there isn't anything else, there's no vault key or ammo bags or medic bags or anything like that, because it is just straight up just the alarm delay. And one thing I will say about Bank Heist in particular is that it's kind of very dependent on RNG. Now, this isn't me complaining and trying to pretend that I'm not actually just bad at the video game, but no, it genuinely is easier with good RNG, like a lot easier. This sort of setup I had here is what I dubbed as the God RNG, and you can see me struggling to use the key card there, is to have both the security room and the vault at the very front. Because with the security room being at the front and the vault also being there, is you have a straight sight line to the drill. So first of all, it's easy to just kill any cops that are trying to sort of, what's the word again? English is my first language, by the way. Sabotage the drill and set it off. So you can stop cops from just setting it off, which just leaves you with like the sort of random jams that they normally do. And also it's quicker to get to the drill Because if you have the vault in the backside and the security room in the backside, there's more of a distance you have to travel. It's incredibly minor, but it does make a difference. And, well, I'm trying to think what else. What else makes it really good? Basically, it's just really good. Trust me on this one. The only thing that can sort of make it a bad spot is, I guess, when the gas comes in, because you can have the teller's office just be completely filled with it. But to be fair, if you're just camping in the security room most of the time, which you should be doing, you're not going to really come into too much trouble, given that you're not really fighting too many enemies, because of course Solar has reduced spawns. Yeah, so as you can see here, I'm setting up sensor mines. The sensor mines, of course, will only be marking out the specials, but it's still worth doing purely because the specials will take the specials, particularly medics and tasers. They go down in like 3 hits from the Predator. Going off the assumption that you shoot once, let the fire fully end, do the other shot, let the fire fully end, and then do a third shot. So it does take quite a while to shoot, actually kill them with the Predator, but of course we have the Spec Ops SMG. So just sort of knowing that we should get ready to shoot them with the SMG is quite useful. Some interesting things I learned is that with the Predator Dragon's Breath is that shooting light SWATs will kill them in a single shot because of the damage over time, unless they get healed by a medic like that. Heavy SWATs will almost die from 1 hit. Wait, no, they don't almost die, they take 549. But they will die in 2 sort of hits of fire, so it's quite nice. The most annoying things, right? The most annoying enemy to fight against is the medic, purely because medics just don't seem to get, like, sort of affected by fire. I don't know why, they just sort of don't seem to. Tasers, everyone else, like, you see the taser get stunned there. But the medics just sort of, like, shrug it off. And of course, when the medics heal each other, well, not heal each other, but when medics heal other units, it also just stops them from being stunned by the fire, which does make life kind of annoying. And sometimes the SWATs just sort of don't come in the room. I'm not sure why, but I'm not complaining. So sometimes they will sit outside for ages, and then sometimes they will all just rush in all at once, and it is very frustrating. And you can die there quite easily because, well, you have basically 0 DPS. And yeah, I had quite a few runs where you can see there's a dozer there. That's another thing as to why the sensor mines are pretty good for this, is because you can set them up in angles where you can't be seeing them to begin with, and we just sort of preemptively know to prepare for a dozer. Molotovs, right? I found this out while I was doing it. Molotovs deal more fire damage than Dragon's Breath damage, fire damage does. It's kind of strange, but I guess it makes sense. I mean, it doesn't really make sense from a logic standpoint, because both of them are setting them on fire. Fire should be doing the same amount of damage, regardless of source. But, of course, gameplay balancing purposes, it makes sense that the Molotov does a lot more fire damage. So while a single Molotov won't instantly take down a dozer, it does sort of weaken them up. Makes it a lot easier to go on to kill them. As you can see here, that sort of small, like, barrier, counter even, it's simultaneously the greatest and worst thing ever. Because sometimes they will just hide behind it and not shoot you. And then sometimes you'll be like 2 seconds away from fixing the drill, and then they'll pop out at you. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Now, what is interesting to note is that one of the other things that makes the front spawn kind of what I'd dub the English, the God spot, is that, of course, there's the chopper that comes in on the roof. There's the SWATs, they put down the gas, and then, well, yeah, there's the gas, and there's the dozer up top. However, if you only stay in this sort of area of the bank, and I think it might be because that door, like the side door, is locked, the dozer will just stay up on the roof. he never comes down. Which, compare that to if you're on the backside and you're forced to fight a Skulldozer. It's a lot nicer to have a dozer that you don't have to fight, which still contributes to the total spawn cap. Which, yeah, it's quite nice. Of course, that's not to say that dozers aren't still going to be a problem, aren't still a problem in this heist. In hindsight, maybe this heist was a little too close quarters for my liking. Because I am basically just sitting in one corner and hoping I don't get super rushed because I don't really have much elsewhere to go. Don't have much else. I don't know. How would you phrase that? I don't have many other places to go, is what I'm trying to say. Because at this point, I couldn't run into the teller's office. I couldn't even run to like the other side of the hall because, well, there's people on the other side of the hall. And I can't go out the door because the door's locked. And, of course, the sort of entrance hall thing has a lot of cops in it. So yeah, you can start to see me sort of panic here when the medic appears, because typically, if one of them gets through, that's when, for some reason, they all just sort of decide to get the idea all at once. They kind of remember, oh, we can go in here. And it's annoying if you get the tanky, you know, medics and tasers. And they take a while to kill. So you can see me here. I use the 2 seconds there just to get into the vault and use a shape charge. I don't know if I go back in. I forgot. I think at some point I do... No, I don't instantly go back in. Okay. Because one thing that surprised me... yeah, at this point I hear the dozer outside. Oh, no, I can see it, no less, because of the sensor. So at this point, I'm kind of already panicking. Because this is one of the few runs where I've actually gotten into the vault. And yes, I had a few runs where I had gotten into the vault and then got shot on the street. And that was really frustrating. I only cried a little bit over it. So at this point here, I'm trying to see if I can actually fight the dozer one-on-one. There are 2 dozers there, so I decide against it. And then I come in here, and there's a 3rd dozer. So at this point here, I'm kind of freaking out, because like, oh my god, it might be over. But then I remember, oh yeah, we're in Fade. So I'm just waiting for my 2 seconds to come back, because I'm going to have to go through the tear gas, remember? Or am I? I don't know. Yeah, so I think my plan initially was... I say this! I did this yesterday. I really should be able to remember. Oh no, the tear gas isn't here. That's why. I was just waiting for a good time. And then, obviously, I have the fright of my life seeing that there's the sniper there. But then we go out, and I get shot there, and like I'm already having flashbacks to the last time, but we got out safe. And then that was it. Bank Heist Cash DSOD with 0 skills at level 0. So yes, it is possible to be a heist on DSOD at level 0. Is it practical? Not really. Is it fun? Not really either. Is it interesting to try out? Definitely, but only if you like true unfiltered painful experiences. I definitely think I dropped myself into the deep end of the pool by making this my first challenge, as I haven't actually done normal DSOD solos before. Yeah, thinking about it, it could have definitely been worth doing a normal DSOD solo to at least get a feel for how it plays, but oh well. That's about it though. If you like this video and want to stick around for more content by me, feel free to like and subscribe, as it really does help me out. As usual though, I've been Cookie Dough, and have a good one.